Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, I'm Mary. I post fashion, beauty, and health and wellness videos, but I figured I would sit down on this gloomy day and reflect on my college experience with you guys. Fitting enough, I'm sitting at my desk and I figured it would just be kind of a fun little thing to do. I mean, it's crazy that I'm already graduating college. Like, I think that's the first thing I have to say about college is that it literally flew by. Like, I'm not even kidding. When people said that, I always thought it was an exaggeration, but it actually did completely and utterly fly by before my eyes. I feel like I was just going into college. And so, yeah, I attended the University of Iowa for 4 years. With a degree in finance. I knew going into college that I wanted to study business, but I wasn't quite sure what. And then finance just kind of came to be, but I'll just kind of start at the beginning. So I went to high school in Iowa City, so I'm from where I went to college, which is a pretty unique thing to go to college in the same town that you grew up, but I ended up doing it. Not really by choice. My dream school was Notre Dame. I applied and did not get in. And I didn't really have anywhere else that I wanted to go. Like, I got into Wisconsin's business school. I thought about Colorado University of Colorado Boulder. I thought about Boston University, I thought about Georgetown, and ultimately I just did not feel strongly that I wanted to go anywhere. So when it came down to it, I was able to go to Iowa for basically free, and I was like, okay, well, if I don't know where I want to go, then there's no point in just going somewhere, wasting a ton of money. And I'm honestly so glad I went to Iowa. I got a phenomenal education, and it just really I don't know, I had all of the comforts of home, but I was able to be independent enough that it didn't feel like I was limited, if that makes sense. So freshman year, I lived in the dorms. I lived in Catlett, which was a brand new dorm. I think it was brand new. Yeah, it was brand new my freshman year. I lived on the 4th floor of Catlett in a single. I personally really recommend living in a single. I thought that it was literally out of the question at first, and I'm not gonna lie, I started freshman year with a roommate for 2 weeks and was like, this isn't for me. And ended up moving. I lived on the west side for 2 weeks, and then I ended up moving to Catlett. And lived in a single. I absolutely loved it. I am a very social person, but I'm also very introverted. So I found that a single worked really well for me because I was able to be alone when I wanted to be alone. I was able to stay on my routine, go to bed early. I didn't have to deal with a roommate going out and stuff because I don't love to go out. We'll get to that, don't worry. But I was also able to be around people when I wanted to be around people because I could just go over to people's dorm rooms or have people over. It was really, really nice. I loved living in Catlett. It was awesome. I did my laundry at home. I actually went home to do meal prep because I'm so particular, and I grew up in the restaurant industry, so dining hall food was just not gonna cut it for me. But a lot of my friends ate in the dining halls, and it's totally it's not bad. Especially the Catlett dining hall had decent options and stuff. I just had the opportunity to go home, and yeah, so that's kind of a whole other thing. But yeah, I loved living in Catlett. I rushed a sorority. I don't know if I'm allowed to say rushed. I was recruited, I don't know, into a sorority. I did recruitment fall of my freshman year, and I thrived in recruitment. I absolutely loved it. If I could go through recruitment again, I would 100% would, mostly because I just loved talking to people and getting to know so many different people. I loved recruitment just in general. I loved going through recruitment and just learning about the different sororities, learning things like that. I knew going into recruitment that I wanted to be in Chi Omega. I ended up doing Chi Omega, accepting a bid from them. And yeah, I got pretty involved in Chi O my freshman year, and into my sophomore year I ended up being treasurer for Chi O. That was a large part of my college involvement, was just as treasurer for Chi O and holding other roles in Chi O. But I also ended up, I think towards the end of my freshman year, I took a job as a tutor at the statistics lab, so the statistics for business lab, because I did really well in a stats for business course. And so the professor approached me and like asked me if I wanted to tutor, basically. So I ended up doing that, and really enjoyed that for about a year and a half. And then honestly, like once senior year came around and like COVID hit, I was like, okay, I'm done with all this stuff. So I ended up dropping Kaya, which honestly, like I love all of the girls in my pledge class, and I really loved, like, I loved Kaya for what it gave me, but it, like, I didn't find my lifelong friends in Kaya, or in any sorority. I don't think I would have, just because, like, I don't know that I really put in the effort. So I think sororities are really what you make of them. Like, they can be a great resume builder. They can be an amazing way to meet friends. They can be like just like a lifelong thing, but it's really what you put into it is what you get out of it. So that's what I would say about sororities in general. I think also like a big block for me with like getting close with people in the sorority was that I did not live in, and pretty much everyone else in my pledge class did. One of my great friends though, Jess, I lived with her. She was also in Kyo in my pledge class. So that ended up working out well. Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about Kyo. At the end of my freshman year, I decided that I wanted to go finance route and that I wanted to do investment banking. And so I ended up being admitted into something at the University of Iowa called the Hawkinson Institute, which is basically for students who want to go into investment banking, and it kind of streamlines the process going from a state school into a role at one of the major investment banks. So while Hawkinson taught me a lot, it also taught me a lot about it taught me a lot about myself, my work ethic. It really, really like helped me to solidify my self-confidence, especially like going through interview processes, especially like just in general. I really enjoyed my experience overall in Hawkinson. I decided not to do investment banking. And that was after I did an internship in investment banking at a small niche investment bank in Chicago the summer after my sophomore year. So this is like kind of the logistics of my college experience, but I'm going to get into like the social aspect and stuff in a second. So moved to Chicago summer after my sophomore year, did the internship, realized I did not want to do investment banking, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I stayed in Hawkinson, but I just kind of like, that's when I feel like I started really like my own self-work, was living in Chicago alone over the summer. Did a lot of just like introspection and kind of like a lot of just, I spent a lot of time with myself, so I really got to know myself and like what I actually truly like deeply want for my life. And so yeah, after that I came back for my junior year. I lived in the same apartment that I live in now my junior year. At this point I'd met my boyfriend. I'll get to that too. I'm going to talk about that with the social stuff. Junior year, I just kind of like, it was a chill year junior year, and then COVID hit second semester. So honestly, I feel like I haven't even been in school since first semester junior year, like genuinely, because everything's been online. It's just different. Like it honestly feels like I kind of was robbed of a year and a half of my college experience, because I like kind of stopped doing all my extracurriculars. I was like, we were in quarantine for like the rest of my junior year into summer. And yeah, I had an internship that I was in the process of like recruiting for that ended up getting shut down because of COVID. And honestly, I am really grateful that that happened, because that was another route that I don't think I would have enjoyed. It was in tech sales. And so I was able to really like take the summer, work at Lulu, and further get to know what I wanted, and what I was looking for. And I'm gonna do a life update vlog or a life update video soon, where I will talk more about like what I'm doing now and things like that. But this is strictly kind of about college. So I would just say, like, go into college, if you want to be a doctor or something like that, and you know that's your life passion, go for it full force. If you don't really know what you want to do, that is okay. It is okay to switch your major. It's okay to switch your career path. One thing I will say, and this is a mentality that I've always had, is if you're gonna do it 100%. So whatever you put yourself, like whatever situation you put yourself in, just fucking do it. And especially with like classes and grades, like that's why I never believe in like partying your way through college. If you're gonna pay for it, you should learn from it and do the best that you can. And if that means all A pluses, then that means all A pluses. If it doesn't mean all A pluses for you, then it doesn't. It's different for everyone. But put into it what you want to ultimately get out of it. You can't expect success if you're not able to put into the work to get there. So that's what I would say is like was a major like theme for me going through college. I've always been a very all or nothing type person. I have a very deep sense of internal drive. And I think that's why I did really well throughout college, both in terms of grades and just in terms of like learning a lot about life in college, I think. But yeah, like know what you want and just like go for it. And if you don't know what you want, then like it's okay. Like it's okay, believe me. So that's kind of like, and then senior year, again, feel like I haven't really been in college. But yeah, in terms of social, a reflection on my social life. Okay, so freshman year, I think I just kind of like tried to be someone that I wasn't. I was kind of going through a phase where like my parents had recently gotten divorced. I still kind of had like a weird eating disorder type deal, and I was just like not happy, but I thought I was. And I thought I was going to transfer to the University of Vermont. I thought the issue lied in the fact that I was going to that I was at Iowa, but really it was like, it's always like an internal issue. Like I can tell you from experience, changing your location, buying more shit, any of that, it's not going to do anything. You got to do the internal work. So freshman year was kind of just like that. Like I did things that like that's just like not me. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. I didn't do anything like crazy. But like, yeah, I mean, I feel like I just like, yeah, I don't know. So anyways, that was kind of freshman year. Then freshman year, I was still kind of like talking to my high school boyfriend, but we weren't dating. That was another thing that was like, another lesson from college is if you have a high school relationship and it ends, or any relationship and it ends, just let it end. It's so hard to do, and it was so hard for me to do, but like it makes it so much harder for the other person and you to heal if you just drag it on than if it's just like, okay, we need to draw this boundary and end it. So that's another thing that I think I learned in terms of that. And then Jess and I, my old roommate, became really close second semester, senior year, or freshman year, and that was so fun. That was when I really started like coming into my power, like realizing that like Iowa was a great thing for me and that I was gonna make the most of it, and that like it was gonna be my thing, and that I wanted to get involved in CIO, and that I wanted to do finance, and like Jess really helped me along with that. And I think that was because we were both thinking of transferring, and we were what each other needed in order to like make an overall positive experience at the University of Iowa. So then the summer after my freshman year, I baristed at the Bread Garden, which is just that way. And just stayed in Iowa City. Jess was in Iowa City too. She was taking summer classes, I was taking summer classes. We really just like had a good time and just like had a girls' summer, had a hot girl summer. That's when I met Blake. We met at yoga, and honestly, I manifested him into my life. I've talked about this before, I'm not even kidding you. I wrote a letter to the universe. 2 days later, he popped up into my life, and he was literally everything of the things that I said in the letter. And so, yeah. Then sophomore year, I mean, Blake and I were like dating at that point. Sophomore year was just super busy for me. I was in a lot of classes. I was doing a lot for Hawkinson. I was doing a lot for like CIO. I was tutoring. Like it was just a very involved year for me, a very big resume building year. So honestly, and that's something I regret, is once I got a boyfriend, I stopped hanging out with the girls. And that was kind of a blessing in disguise, because I realized that who I was hanging out with wasn't necessarily like who I wanted to be hanging out with, if that makes sense. Like, some of the people were, but I don't know, I think I was still just kind of lost. I didn't feel like I'd found my people yet, and yeah. So, but I did definitely isolate myself in my relationship, like, because Blake was older. Like, he's 3 years older than me, so he wasn't in college anymore. It was just a different vibe. So then, end of sophomore year, so I went to Chicago for that summer, had a ball, such a blast in Chicago. That's what made me fall in love with that city. Absolutely love Chicago. Nothing bad to say about it. I did my internship, and yeah, it was just kind of in between Iowa City, Chicago, Blake's Lake House, and yeah. Then junior year, first semester junior year was still pretty busy. Still didn't really like find my people until Grayson and I became like super close. Like, I've known Grayson since we were little. Grayson actually was in Kyo, and she was my little, and then she ended up dropping. But second semester junior year, like, honestly, after I dropped Kyo, we kind of just like started going on walks, started hanging out. She's my bestie, long time. I love her, like you guys know. And then in the summer, we started hanging out with Nat, and those are my girls. Like, we are a trio. They are my best friends. I absolutely love them. I can confidently say they will be my bridesmaids. Like, they are the best. Like, they're my people. Like, we laugh, we cry, we have a blast, and I can confide in them in anything. And like, I know that like they are my best friends, and they are going to be there for me. So I honestly, like, looking back on it, I was kind of bummed, like, just in like my sophomore year and stuff, that I didn't have my people. And I always, even in high school, I always kind of felt like the outcast. I was like, why haven't I found my people? And now I can see like the universe was like challenging me to do some like self-growth and self-worth, so that I was able to like have that internal sense of confidence and attract such confident, radiant individuals into my life, like Blake, like Natalie, like Grayson, like Jess, like, so anyways, yeah. And ever since then, I've just been hanging out with my girls. Like, I hang out with other people, and I have a lot of acquaintances. That's something about me. Like, I know a lot of people, but my circle is really tight. And yeah, I am so happy. I'm so glad I went to the University of Iowa. I'm so glad I studied finance, because I can do so much with it. More coming with that soon. And what I really liked about finance too, and business in general, is that it really like delicately balanced my analytical side with my relationship building side. Because I am so 50-50 with that. My mom is such a relationship builder, and my dad is so analytical, and they're entrepreneurs. And I think just like growing up around that, I adopted both of those characteristics. So yeah, that's what I would say about business. Is I think you can't really go wrong studying something like finance. And I think there's just such a broad like career path that you can go with that. I'm trying to think of like anything else. Oh, in terms of going out. So, okay, I was asked to speak on this. I talked about it in a vlog, my last vlog, and someone wanted me to talk about it. So I want to talk about this. So going out in college is such a delicate thing, especially at a party school like Iowa. And it was definitely part of the reason I didn't want to go to Iowa, was because I'm talking so fast, but I feel like I have so much to say, you know, I just want to get it all out. Anyways, but I feel like at a party school like as big as Iowa, like when you go to those state schools, like you go into them, like everyone's like, yeah, party. And I was so intimidated by that. And I knew like I didn't want to go out. Like, I went out a few times, and I literally was on the verge of a panic attack the whole time. I absolutely hated it. I have never been drunk, so I don't think I was able to really find the fun in it. Like, anytime I would go out, I would literally take fake sips of alcohol because I didn't want to drink it, because I didn't like the way it made my stomach feel. Like, I have a very sensitive stomach, and alcohol would just like literally destroy my stomach. So anyways, I also come from a history of alcoholics, just like in my family lineage. So, and I have an addictive personality, so I knew I didn't want to fuck with that. So I would say, like, yes, it can be isolating, but also like you choose your communities, and the relationships that you cultivate strictly when going out with people are probably going to be, I mean, I can't say this for sure, but like, if you meet someone going out, like, what are you gonna bond over? Going out, you know? Whereas like, I think where you go and what you do attracts the people that you want to attract. So if you just go out and expect like that to be your social life, then that's going to be your social life. But if you go to yoga and you're like, I want to meet people, and you go into it with that intention, then that's going to be your social life. And like for me, my yoga studio, Hot House, like that was a huge aspect of my social life. Like that's how I met my boyfriend. That's how I met my best friends. Like that's really has been fundamental for me. That's how I meet so many of the people I know. So I would say like, if you don't want to go out, don't feel pressure. But I think there's great things about going out. And I think it's hard for me to speak on going out because I haven't done it. But like my boyfriend, Blake, he used to go out like at least once a week. And so like not every night, but he used to go out a decent amount. And he says that he made some of his best memories going out. So I think it's so personal, and it's like at your core, do you enjoy it? And if you do enjoy it, then you do you. But if you don't enjoy it, then you shouldn't force yourself to do it just to meet people, because you're not going to cultivate like genuine connections if your heart's not in it, you know? So I would say go where you want to meet people, and you will meet people. And if you put out the energy that you want to cultivate amazing relationships, then you will, and they will come, and you attract what you put out. So I think that kind of has to sum up like my whole college experience. Like you attract what you put out. I could have gone to Iowa and had a horrible experience because I didn't want to go there at the beginning, but I went with an open mind, and it ended up being the best 4 years of my life so far. So yeah, you attract what you put out. Let me know if you have any questions, especially on like academic stuff. I would be happy to help. Or just like social stuff, like you guys know, like I am here for you. So, and you guys are here for me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Love you. I just did this with my hand a lot. Love you. And I will see you guys in my next video. I hope this was helpful. All my love.